In this video, I'm going to look at a Sony TR72, which is a 1956 vintage all-transistor radio, one of the first, if not the first, transistor radio that was produced by the Sony Corporation. And this unit here, it predates just about everything. Up until this point, all the radios contain vacuum tubes. Let's take a look at this classic piece. Now, what makes this radio so unique? Well, one, it's in a wooden box. But two, check the logo on the front. It was the original Sony logo before Sony went to their modern day logo. This was the original Sony logo. This radio was actually produced before Sony was even available in Canada. And when Sony came to Canada, it was distributed by General Distributors, and it was I believe it was the Transistor 6, the one that I've got, was the first one that came out in about 1963. This predates that by several years. And it's quite a collector's item. We're going to start by giving this one a clean the control with some Neutral. Clean the volume control on here. We're not receiving anything, so I think we're going to have to start changing some parts in here, more than likely capacitors. For those that are watching, there's going to be two releases of this video. The free versions, you're going to see the actual radio fixed, but I'm not going to do the full restoration. The full restoration is going to be a Patreon-only release. So if you want to see the entire restoration, you're going to need to be a member. Kind of like this, underneath the batteries, there's a screw hole ding chassis. It's a hole ding chassis screw. Let's remove that. That should allow the chassis to be removed off this thing. I noted the last person to work on this did not bother to center the controls. They were all off. So when I get this thing back together, the controls are going to be properly centered. See what I mean? Check the pointer. Where the dial is, it's way off. Also, look, someone's bodged on just a red wire there for an external antenna. Obviously, they broke the antenna jack, and rather than replace it, they just stuck a wire on there and used that as an external antenna. We'll be leaving that as is. Okay. Now, I've got the two knobs off of the radio itself, and now I should be able to remove these other screws here on the top, and that should release the chassis from the wooden cabinet so that I can work on it. There we go. Okay, now the radio lifts out. Here's the speaker wires. There's a fair bit of slack on here. We'll just put the antenna back in place to remove the radio. You can close the back up so it's out of the way. And now we can work on this. So I'm going to reinstall the batteries. I'm going to see whether we can get a signal from the amplifier, and that'll tell me whether the problem's on this board or whether the problem's on the radio board. Okay, I got the function generator set up, 440 hertz tone. Let's see whether we get any sound through the amplifier. So I'm just going to find probably a ground right there. Okay, we'll turn this thing on, and I'm going to clip onto the audio input, and haha, sounds good to me. Control's still really dirty, but that tells us that everything on this board here is fine. So the problem is on the RF side. So I'm going to get in here with the scope and just look to see if the oscillator and so forth is running. Look, folks, these transistors say Sony on them. It's a Sony transistor. First, we'll see if the oscillator is running. So I believe the oscillator is right down here. So we'll just clip on here and see whether there's anything coming from this transistor. Well, I'll show you guys the scope in a second here as soon as I hit the auto button. Get it to measure. our oscillator, our local oscillator. And if I adjust the tuning capacitor here, and now as you can see, the frequency is changing. So we know that the oscillator is working. So our problem is not the oscillator that's causing this radio not to work. So I have to concentrate somewhere here in the mixer, and I'm thinking probably some of these stupid capacitors are bad. Looks like this one's been changed at one time. This 100 microfarad at 6 volts. This one's been changed. You can see someone just cut. Somebody just cut the leads and they were lazy. Rather than take the board out and do it right, they just cut the leads. But I'm going to do it right. We're going to change a couple of these caps. These 30 microfarad at 6 volts. I think these ones are probably going to be okay, but these electrolytics here, I don't trust these things as far as I can throw them. This one looks like it's starting to come apart. It looks like the rubber plug down here is actually leaking. It's ready to pop. But let's get some new ones. These are 30 microfarad. I'm sure I've got some 30s. They're going to be a fraction of the size of these things. So I've got some 33 microfarad at 25 volts. I think that these are going to be more than adequate. Look at the size difference in these things, right? And we'll just do these two first and see if that will get the sound back. That's that one. That's this positive lead. Okay, that one's done. Or the positive lead is. And that one went to... They both go to the same point on the other side of the board here, so they're both connected to the same common place, so it doesn't matter. I can see why the last guy just cut it, because they bent these leads over, and I don't want to damage the traces trying to get this thing out of here. There's this one here, I think. You know what? I'm scared that the trace is going to get damaged, so I'm going to do what the last guy did. I'm just going to cut the lead here. I know somebody's going to give me a thumbs down for this for sure. I'm just going to cut the lead and do it this way because I don't want to damage the board. And these old circuit boards that are this age, this is early in the manufacturing of printed circuit boards, and they really didn't have PC design down pat at that point. So they basically go over all the traces with solder to make things stick, and it makes it hard to get the components out. Plus they bent the leads over because these were all hand soldered back in the day, right? So they bent all the leads over, and then they soldered them down to the board, and you basically have to heat them up and bend the pins up in order to release them. And doing that, you put a lot of stress on the board, and I just don't want to risk having any traces lift on me. This side was okay because there was nothing on this side other than the only parts that go on here is this cap that goes to ground. So this one was easy to get at, but the other one not so much. So nothing touching here. Let's put the batteries back in and see if we have liftoff. I'm hoping it's not a bad transistor, one of these transistors here, because, well, we know these ones are okay because we've got audio output, right? These four are fine, but I'm hoping, we know that one's okay because it's oscillating. So we got a mixer here, IF stages. I'm hoping one of these is not bad because these being the age that they are, it's going to be pretty hard to try and find that would be work to replace this, because these will be for sure germanium transistors. I spy a wire that seems to be going nowhere right here. What is that? Where did that come from? It's right in this mess down here, and next to this transistor I see this wire. You see what I mean about these circuit boards, eh? This is early PC board technology, and it wasn't that good. Okay, let's just see where the heck the transistor's unsoldered. Ah, I think this is our problem. Look at this. This transistor is not even soldered down, and where the heck is this resistor go? Okay, there's a resistor here that is just like, where did it come from? It's come right off the board. See if I can get that out of there without breaking anything. There's a resistor that's fallen off. I wonder where that went. And the transistor has come unsoldered. That should be relatively easy to put that back in because there's a hole there. I can see it. I don't know where that resistor goes, but I do see a couple holes over here, and I'm wondering if it came... You know what? I think it came off right here. I can feel... This is the one that's been replaced on the bottom. I can feel the... it's broken. This is where this has come from, right there. I can feel the pins sticking up. Interesting. Okay. What else am I going to find on this thing? Probably that one there that lead broke off of. I bet you that's where it goes. Yes, indeed. If I shine the flashlight from the bottom, you'll see that lead here, this one right here, is where the light's going to come through. Right, that's from that transistor. That's the one. This is my little work light that I got sent to evaluate. And I tell you, this thing is actually pretty good. Even for working on stuff like this, I can put this on my bench and throw a little bit of extra light on the scene when I need it. Put that one there. Stack that down while I can. Okay, that is reattached. We'll replace this 0.5 microfarad. I'm not going to replace it. I'm just going to solder it back down to the board. I'm sure that this is probably okay, because I think we know where the problem with this radio is now. Okay. Now this resistor that I know where it came from, and I've just had a wire break off here. That's what I hate about these type of boards with all these wires sticking out of them. This resistor, I'm going to mount it on the bottom right next to its brother. And the yellow wire that's come off over here, the audio out wire. We're going to look for some signals with the scope. Okay, I see something here. Okay, I'm seeing a signal here. It represents audio. That looks like audio to me. Actually, that looks like an IF signal. That looks like a carrier with audio. So, it was making it through this first IF stage. Let's go to the second one here. Okay, I see RF here, or IF. Especially considering I see audio back a stage back, we can certainly see that that's an AM modulated waveform there. That's definitely speech from an AM station. If I put my hand near the antenna, it increases, and that is going into this transformer. the IF transformer here. It should be coming out of the transformer there, which it looks like it is. And that goes into, I believe it's this transistor here. Let's see if I can find a schematic for this thing. I haven't even looked. See if I can find a Sony TR72 schematic. It might make things easier to track down. So we've got the schematic for this unit, and let's study it. All right, we've got our signal going into this transformer here. This is, we've got it going in, and I see it on the base here. And this resistor here might be the one that came unsoldered. I'm just going to look on the bottom of that board where I tacked it down again. Okay, I can hear it hissing. 3 volts, minus 0.6. Okay, there's a strong signal there. And that should be making it through. We can hear it. And here it is here. Going over to the detector. And there's the detected output. Really low. Okay, if we look on this, this is the last IF stage. I think we can safely say that this is audio. And this is going into the final transformer here before detection. So we know we've got signal coming into that transformer here. And that would be the side, I'm going to say this is going to this collector of the transistor here. I think. Just trying to trace the circuit by eye here. There's 3 pins on here. This one should be the collector here. Yeah, there's the collector. So the other side of this transformer is over here. And I see RF there. From here, it goes to the detector. The detector has got to be right in here somewhere. Where the heck is the detector? Is that it? Oops. I thought a wire broke there. That's the detector? I think that's the detector right there. That is the detector. This is the detector. This brown component here is the detector.
Now, here's the latest from the CKNW newsroom.
A second former Metro Vancouver mayor has entered the race to become the next BC Liberals leader.
Former Surrey Mayor Diane Watts is
No.
former Vancouver Mayor Sam.
It's the detector. Son of a gun. This is the detector here. It's bad. I just put heat on it. Now it's gone out again. I just put heat on this thing and this thing started working. That's the problem. The bloody detector is shot. That's right here. Okay, that's right here. Okay, let me see if I can find something that I can replace that with. Okay, I was able to find an actual rectifier or detector diode out of an old radio. Let's put the right type of detector in here and see whether this will affect my reception. And like before, I'm just going to tack it down to the bottom of the board here because it's a heck of a lot easier than trying to get it through those holes in this board that is not a very easy one to work with. I'm going to leave the little insulators on here. Okay, there's the diode in place. Let's see how this sounds, if it works at all.
Emails and watch the game at the same time with the multi-window feature. En français. Press your client by using the S Pen to display the translation.
You'll love the remarkable Galaxy Note 8 on National App for details. Visit a Bell store or Bell.ca/network. Smartphones on Bell just got better.
Next time you take your vehicle into the shop, here's what I want you to do. Instead of the antifreeze you usually get, we're on the downtown corridor.
Sounding pretty good right now.
Granville and Canby Street bridges. Very.
But now it's Justin Thomas, the winner. I mentioned the first two in.
Here and.
Coming up here in moments right here on Fox Sports. We come back from back to Fox Sports Radio Studios. Only we're looking for a reason to complain even more.
PC Live, oh baby! This is Bob the Moonsburn Challenge. Join me along with Julio.
We've got receiving now, so I just want to mount this board before any wires break off of it. I think that at this point, this is probably working pretty good. It could use the all the rest of the caps changing on here, but I don't have anything in that size for these small caps. These are what are they? 0.05 microfarads. I have nothing that small. I want to get the radio working properly first, and then we'll look at swapping them out. Okay, now that the board is mounted again, let's put the batteries back in.
Station.
Oh, now the volume control is working now that it's grounded. That was why.
This is AM 730, Vancouver's traffic and info.
Oh, well then, that must mean that when you were asking for a raise, you were really asking for a pay cut.
Touché, Mr. Employee of the Month. Touché.
It's Sunday, September 24th. I'm Renee Bernard. In Vancouver, it's 15 degrees. Here's what's making news right now. It's official. Diane Ross has announced she will be running to become the next leader of the BC Liberal Party. 3 separate shootings in 2 areas of Surrey over the weekend. So far, no suspects, but lots of rattled neighbors.
Municipal leaders gather in Vancouver this week for their first convention since the NDP took power. Housing is expected to be a key issue. Russell Wilson.
So we open the back up again. And this should just slide right on in. Well, a bit of coaxing maybe. Got to wind up the speaker wire like it was before. Get it out of the way. And this should just with a little bit of coaxing. Like that. Just like that. And then there's these screws that go in the top, and then we have the knobs that need to go on, complete with the rotten felts. And this was set to 16. There. Now it says off when it's actually off.
At crossing, you're waiting about 10 minutes. Everything else northbound, it's just a 5-minute wait. Do keep in mind. Go to causesforcancerbc.ca.
All the time. Yeah, good luck. If you're going to say I'm done with the NFL, like a handful of protesting, I was thinking, I get it. Hey, get up. What are you wearing?
website, bcaa.com. Policy terms apply. Membership is rewarding.
Now time for a quick look at the AM 730 bridge and tunnel report. And again, we're going to start this one out.
It's working.
The downtown core, taking a look at the barometer.
Units back together. Well, it was working. What happened there?
Very
Batteries
nice. So
shifted.
check your back out of all
That's
of
what
them
happened.
coming into the downtown core or coming out of the downtown core. Lionsgate Bridge, Stanley Park Causeway is again clear and free for both directions as it is over in West Vancouver on Lionsgate Bridge
There it is.
Road.
Working. Thanks for watching. The extended cut of this video is available to Patreon subscribers. And you can subscribe by going to www.patreon.com/12voltvids. Costs as little as $1 a month, and you'll see exclusive content that is not available on the regular YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.